If you've tried Instagram, Facebook ads, search engine optimization, wedding shows, vendor referrals, all of these marketing things for wedding professionals, and you're still not getting consistent bookings, and I mean bookings every single month, every single week, you do not have a marketing problem. You have a clarity problem. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business, where we speak with industry experts, teach you how to grow your wedding business, and give you the tools you need to take it to the top. I hope you're ready to grow because this is your season. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business. This is the show where officiants, planners, photographers, venue owners, creatives, and wedding professionals of all types get great advice and hear valuable interviews that can literally change their businesses forever. This is not a show about business hacks, get-rich-quick schemes, or internet guru nonsense. But if you're ready to get down and change your business, let's go. I remember a season in my business where I had a lot of mingled together information, a lot of it nonsense, some of it good information, some of it I saw online, some of it I read in books, but it was all jumbled together. And I thought I just needed more marketing for my business. So I started posting regularly, like constantly every day in my business. And this season, I thought the more I post to social media, the more pictures I put on my Google business profile, the more of this stuff I do, tweaking my website, trying to run ads, trying all of these new things that I'd been reading about, my business was going to change. But honestly, I just grew exhausted in that season and almost experienced like complete burnout because I was doing so many things and I did not know what I was doing wrong. Bookings were not consistent, and that's all I wanted. I wanted consistent bookings, and in my mind, I thought, I must suck at marketing. I must not be good at marketing. But what I eventually realized through, unfortunately, many, many months and getting more experience was that marketing was not my problem. In fact, a lot of the marketing I was doing right. My website, I was doing right. The social media posts, I was killing it. I was doing a great job. But marketing wasn't my problem. Clarity was my problem. And we're going to talk about clarity today and how you not being clear what your business is, what it offers, who it serves, and then your customer not being clear on those things either can completely halt your business from going to the next level, from growing, from even being profitable at all. Now, I don't want you to feel bad if you're like, this is where I'm at, Chad. I'm kind of stuck. I'm in that same spot because this is very, very common in the wedding industry. In fact, I would say, if all wedding pros in the very beginning, we're not taught how to define our value. Unless you've had other business experience, unless you've been in business before, you're not taught, you don't know, I need to define my value. Marketing only works, though, when you understand this. Marketing only works where clarity exists. And that's why this episode is so important. So I want to promise you, if you are in this boat at all, I want to make this promise. By the end of this episode, you will understand why marketing sometimes feels absolutely exhausting, inconsistent, ineffective, and what actually needs to be fixed first so that the marketing work that you do will begin to work. So let's start out talking about why most marketing fails. Okay? Marketing does not create clarity. A lot of people think the harder I work, and they equate to working hard, hustling, going and getting stuff done in my business, that is going to make it clear what else I need to do. But that's not true. Marketing doesn't create clarity. It actually exposes the lack of clarity in your business. In fact, it is an amplifier. Marketing is amplification. So if you're marketing a business and you don't understand these things that I'm talking about today, if you're not clear on who you serve, what your business does for people, how it makes people feel, all of these things, it actually will amplify the confusion. If the value is unclear in your business, the value that your business brings, if that's unclear, it amplifies this. Marketing amplifies it, and it's not a good thing. So you've got to be clear on these things. Marketing doesn't fix broken messaging, it magnifies it. Now, you've heard me talk about the book that I wrote, so I want to pull some things out of that book in some of these podcast episodes because there's a lot of good information that I think you could apply to your business. So in my book, The Wedding Pros Playbook, I talk about something that is called message alignment. And most wedding pros are marketing, unfortunately, what they do, what I offer. You see it on people's websites a lot. You see what we offer, or offerings, or services, but they're talking about their business based off of what they do instead of what they solve. So a lot of this information I put in our free school community, and you'll hear more and more about that because it's free. And I think it's a great place for wedding professionals to go and get more of this information and become part of a community that are trying the same things. But we have lessons that I've set up called Success Foundations. And in those lessons, I talk about positioning and how to redefine your position. So if you're a wedding officiant and people say, "What do you do?" and you say, "I officiate weddings," that is not what you should be saying. You should come up with your own value statement. You should come up with your message alignment. So you should say something like, "I help couples feel calm, confident, and deeply connected during one of the most emotional moments of their lives." If someone was in an elevator with you and they said, "What do you do?" and you said, "I'm an officiant, I officiate weddings." Compare that to you saying, "I help couples feel calm, confident, and deeply connected during one of the most emotional moments of their lives." Wow. You must be magical. Like, what do you think sounds better to someone who you're not marrying? And what do you think sounds better to a couple who wants to hire you? Which sounds more caring? Which sounds more passionate? Which sounds more driven? This is a good example of clarity. Clarity for you understanding what your business does, and clarity for couples who are looking to hire you. When you're clear about the transformation that takes place, whatever your service is that you offer, what is the transformation that takes place, the value, the emotion that's experienced, what is it other than just being a service? Marketing gets lighter when you're clear about the transformation. Marketing becomes easier when you're clear about the transformation and you don't just talk about it like it's a service. So if you're tired of posting consistently, not getting inquiries, I was there. I was posting all the time, wasn't getting inquiries. I would get inquiries that were not a good fit. They were unqualified for what I wanted, how I wanted my business to grow, where I wanted my business to go. They seemed like they were the entire opposite of the type of customer that I wanted to attract. But I kept getting these same people over and over. I kept getting couples that were asking, "What's included?" They had question after question after question. I'm like, "It's on my website. What? I don't understand what I'm doing wrong." Constantly couples were price shopping me. You ever have inquiries where people call you, they send in an inquiry form, and then they ghost you, you never hear from them again? It's very, very annoying, and I've been there. But none of this is an algorithm problem, a marketing problem. That is not a platform problem. It all comes down to clarity in your business. I see when wedding business owners come into the business initially, when they start their business, a lot of the things that I hear are, I'm not going to recreate the wheel. I'm going to look at a business that's similar. Now, I'm not saying not to look at any other businesses. You should gather information prior. I even have taught many, many people, and I've taught live courses where I talk about don't recreate the wheel. Find somebody who has a system that's working, but I'm talking about systems. I am not talking about your value and being clear on all the things we're talking about today. So don't copy other wedding professionals. When you look at someone else's business and you say, I'd love my business to be like that, that's as far as it should go. Maybe you're like, oh, look at how their system works. So they have their website that works here. They have a form. You're looking at their system, but don't copy their value proposition. Don't copy who they are. Don't copy what their brand is because you see your brand kind of like that. So why is it that copying other wedding pros always backfires? That's what I'm going to talk about right now. I once had a coaching call with a wedding professional, a wedding officiant, and they told me that they were luxury. So I started asking them, like, what is your business? How would you define your business? How would you define what your business looks like when a couple finds your website? And what is the first image? What's the first thought of your business? They said, we're luxury. And I said, what does that mean to you? What does luxury mean? And they said, well, our business is extravagant. Our services feel more expensive. Everything's just really nice and kind of fancy. And right when I started my business, I saw someone that had a luxury business, and that's what I wanted. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're basing this off somebody else's business. So they're copying somebody that they liked all the way up to the words that are defining their business. Luxury is not a brand definition, okay? Luxury is a positioning word for your business, and that's fine to use that, but that is not the total description for your business. It never should be. A word like that never should be. So the more I questioned them, we were talking, and they started giving me definitions of the word luxury, like they looked it up online, and these are the definitions. Instead of being clear on what their business would offer, they're giving me definitions. Instead of how it would make a couple feel, they're giving me these definitions. Instead of the difference between their services and everyone else, they're giving me the definitions of a word off of the internet. So they assigned a fancy word, and they were depending on that one word and the description of that word to define and describe their entire business. That is all wrong. They didn't know any better, and so I'm not faulting them, but I'm trying to teach a lesson here based off of that decision. I've seen people do that and try to have business for several years and wonder why things aren't sticking, wonder why referrals aren't coming, wonder why customers aren't finding them, wonder why customers aren't choosing them when they do find them. So instead of allowing your business to be its own brand, don't pick a word. Don't look at someone else. Don't copy someone else. Allow your business to be its own brand, to be its own way of what people feel, and create a definition of your business based on what it truly is, not some word that defines it. Most pros, wedding pros, at least in the beginning, copy Instagram. They copy captions they see. They copy website layouts. They look at other people. They copy pricing structures. They copy language. Language like stress-free, luxury, custom, full service. But we have to reframe our mindset. especially if we've been doing this. We have to completely reframe, and we have to say what works for them works because it fits them, unless they've done it from somebody else and their business is not being successful. But if their business is being successful, what works for them is because it fits them, not because it's some magical word that people will choose you if you use. So the danger of this, if you do this in your business, continue to do this going forward, if you don't listen to what I'm saying and you keep doing it, you're borrowing someone else's positioning. You don't have that business owner's experience. You don't have their reputation. You don't have their network. You probably don't have their confidence if they are very successful and they've been doing this a while. So when someone comes up to your business and you're branded just like theirs, it feels fake. It falls flat, and it's just not you. When you copy someone else's marketing, you inherit their strengths, but you also inherit their weaknesses without their context. So we want to stay away from that. Don't copy. Try to be as original as you can. If you need to look at what someone else is doing, that's fine, but limit that and don't copy the other things. In the Success Foundation lessons that are in our school community, I talk about the difference between being an operator and an owner. And you've heard this probably somewhere before. An operator will sometimes copy because they're operating this thing. Their whole job is just to keep this thing running, keep it afloat. An owner, though, knows the value and designs based on what they are creating. So they're not just running, they're creating. So operators react, operators imitate, operators stay busy. They have to stay busy or they don't feel like they're being productive. Owners define, they decide, they build intentionally. They are the place that the creation comes from. Operating keeps you afloat. Ownership gives you direction. So before we move on, I want to clarify a few things. Marketing, first of all, I hope that this has come through clearly, is not transferable from one business to another. Your business is completely unique. Your brand is unique. Your marketing has to be unique. Clarity is personal. Clarity in your business is different than clarity in somebody else's business, understanding all of the things that we're going over today. Clarity is yours. You can't understand your business and your audience by looking at someone else's business and someone else's audience. It just doesn't work that. Even in the same industry, even within the same niche in the same industry, photographer, videographer, officiant, it doesn't work like that. There's no shortcut to figuring out your own brand. You have to take the steps, and that's why we teach those steps in the school community so that you can start to take those and understand, get clarity, and then start building your business on the correct foundation. Another thing that I want to be clear about is strategy must fit your business because it fits you. You are the creator of your business. It all revolves around you. So your strategy's got to fit your business because it fits you, the business owner, based on your unique message alignment like we talked about earlier. That is the key. Strategy fits your business because it fits you, the business owner, because it's based on your unique message alignment. There's a branding trap. When we start talking about your unique brand, there is a trap that many business owners fall into. And a lot of business owners fall into it early on because they're trying to get business. Chad, I just started my business. I need as much business as possible. I'm going to do whatever I can. Whoa. Don't do whatever you can, because what happens is you get into the I'll do anything branding. You get into the I'll do anything marketing. And when you say I'll do anything, it's just bad for business. I used to say yes to everything when I first started my business. Every style, every couple that called me, every request, inquiry I got exhausted saying yes to everything. And I wasn't making a crazy amount of money. I just thought, I've got to get my business going. I'm going to say yes to it all. But over time, I learned lessons, and then I had to learn how to get clarity, like we're talking about today, in my business. And that clarity is what I would do, what I wouldn't do, what I had to charge. What I had to charge. This is what I have to make. I can't go any lower. What I could not accept, that's clarity. I had clarity when I took calls, when I communicated, when I didn't communicate. I had cutoffs. I set up my business how I wanted to and had clarity on exactly all of these things, how far I'd go, how far I'd travel. Clarity allowed me in my business to say no without fear that they're going to reject me. I don't care because I'm clear. I have clarity on my value, on what my business offers, on who I serve, on what I'll do, on what I won't do, on my prices, on what I'll charge, what I won't charge, what I can't accept, how far I'll travel, all of these things. This is clarity in a nutshell, and it allows you to say no without fear. It allows you to set up systems that say no for you. When somebody fills out a form on my website and their budget does not fit within my pricing range, my system will kick that inquiry out and send an email and say, sorry, I'm not available for this service. Sorry, I'm not available for your wedding. It's not lying. I'm not. It didn't say my schedule's busy. It said, I'm not available. And I'm not available. I am not available because I have a line drawn and I've got clarity, and that allowed me to say no without fear. Have you ever said, because I used to say all the time, have you ever said, I work with all budgets? Oh, I see this online all the time. It bugs the fire out of me. I work with every budget. Just the other day, I'm in a group, an officiant group, and somebody says, hey, I've got a wedding. It's coming up really quick. We couldn't find an officiant. And instantly, there was at least 15 comments that said, I'll work with any budget. I can be there. Just no clarity. There's no understanding what they will do and what they don't. Just, I work with all budgets. Can't stand that one. I customize every ceremony. Oh, you're getting an elopement? Oh, I'm a photographer. You just hired me to take elopement pictures. I know it's supposed to be this charge, but no. I'll work with that budget. Oh, I'll customize that. Oh, I'll give you this package for that price. Every package is custom. No, we got to have clarity. I serve everyone. Oh, yes, I know you've got a small budget and this is my style, and that's your style. But no, I serve everyone. No clarity. No wedding is too big or small. I've heard this one. No wedding is too big, no wedding too small. Well, if you're doing all size weddings, serving everybody, serving every budget, you work with everything. Everything is customized. You don't have a business. You can't operate a business like that. You've got to have the clarity. All of these things sound responsible. They sound like you are trying to take everybody into consideration, and it sounds like a couple would think, man, that's great. I want to work with this person. In all actuality, to the couple, it is confusing. It actually turns people away. Physically turns people away when they read that, when they see you do everything. They do not want to do business with you. I promise. Please listen to what I'm saying. In the playbook, there is a part where I explain that your pricing reflects your clarity. If you don't know your value, if you don't know I should say unique, I'll add that word in there because your value is unique to you and your business. If you don't know your unique value, if you don't know how to find out your unique value, if you don't know what prices you will offer, if you will price whatever to compete with other businesses, you will lose. If you are clear on your unique value, you'll price to align with your unique customers, and you will win. Don't be everything to everybody. Be yourself to your customers in your business, offering your unique value at your prices. You will win. If you stopped trying to serve everyone tomorrow, if you're doing that and you stopped tomorrow trying to serve everyone, who would you intentionally design your business for? What customers would you intentionally select and design your business for? That is where your thinking has got to start to begin to get the clarity that we're talking about. Why? Why is that? Because couples don't want options. They don't want a ton of options. They want confidence. They want someone who does one thing better than anybody else. They want somebody that is amazing at one thing. Well, I've got 3 services. That's okay. Be amazing at one thing and you will blow up. Know your value. Know why you're priced, because you do that one thing better than anybody else in the world and your price reflects it. You have to be like that. Why else? Because if you serve everyone and you do everything, you do it all, vendors don't know when to refer you. You're not identified in their mind as a person that does anything well. When do they refer you? And you can't be remembered if you're not defined. This may be the whole reason you're having problems with referrals. I don't know if you are having problems with referrals. This may be the reason though. If you're for everyone, you are memorable to no one. If you don't listen to this episode and you don't listen to what I said, you're going to experience low quality leads. You're going to experience lots of price objections over and over in your business. You're going to experience emotional burnout. You may already be experiencing that. You're going to feel the need to constantly explain to your customers and to justify to your customers because they are not the ideal customer for you. Let's talk about clarity in practical terms, okay? You can take what I'm getting ready to tell you to the bank. It is the truth. What does clarity mean for your business? It means knowing exactly who you serve. It means knowing why you're valuable. Why are you valuable to people? That's what clarity will give you. Clarity means knowing what problems you actually solve for your customers. It means knowing how you want to be remembered. Knowing these things, this is just a small part of this big iceberg, okay? We could go a lot deeper, but I want you to start to get the picture of why maybe you don't have clarity or how you get clarity in your business. And there's actually a domino effect when we talk about clarity. And I want you to see this domino effect. So first of all, clarity simplifies pricing. If you have clarity, you'll price with confidence. There will be less explaining to people that you don't want. There will be less discounting. There will be less guilt. Clear value removes the need to defend your price. Number 2, clarity simplifies content and services. So this is the second part of the domino effect. You know what to talk about. You know what to offer. You stop guessing. You stop chasing trends. You attract the right people. The content or service that you offer, the content of your business, the service you offer is easy when you know who you're speaking to. And here's the third part of that domino effect. Clarity simplifies referrals. Remember, referrals, 40 to 60% of your business, they should be. And vendors, when you have clarity, vendors know when to send people to you. Venues know exactly what to say about you because they know what they think. They know your business. Past clients know how to describe you. If a past client is talking to a couple that's getting ready to get married and they're like, yeah, there's a wedding planner and she planned our wedding. Okay. No, there's a wedding planner and she made us feel so comfortable and confident, and we were emotional and she helped calm our emotions. She took care of every odd and end, and they go on describing you because you're unique. They know exactly how to describe you, and that becomes a referral and you get more business. Clear businesses get referred more without asking. If you have to ask and ask and ask for referrals, that should be a sign that clarity is missing in your business. That should be a sign that something is wrong. One of the reflection questions that I put in our Success Foundations inside our school community asked this: do you react more than you plan? Do you feel busier but unclear, more jumbled? That question alone stopped me in my tracks, and it stops more people in their tracks because you're like, yes, I'm very busy, but I'm still so unclear on my growth plan in my business. So if you want a starting point today, here is your task at the end of this episode. Document one repeated task that you do over and over, something that you repeat in your business, just one. Clarity grows when you see patterns. I want you to train yourself to start seeing patterns in your business, and that's your starting point. Document one repeated task. I'm not going to go any further. We're not going to go into explanation, but as we move forward with these podcast episodes, you'll see exactly why I asked you to do that. Clarity doesn't come from sitting in your office, sitting in a restaurant, sitting in your bed at night on your phone, thinking about your business, thinking harder, what could I do in my business? How could I solve all these things? It comes from structured reflection, knowing what you need to think about, knowing what you need to make decisions on. Structured reflection, structured decision making. So sitting around searching for answers, trying to figure it out on your own, that's not where you're going to get clarity. You've got to know exactly what you're looking for. You've got to know exactly what decision you have to make. You got to know what you need to do in your business to get more clarity. Referrals are such a huge part of our business. We talk about it over and over. And clarity, I want you to understand before I go, how much of a direct impact all of this that we're talking about is going to make on your referrals, your referral business. So 40, 50 to 60% of your business, that should be referrals. Clarity's got a huge part that plays in that. And in the original guide that I wrote a couple years ago called A Guide to Building Wedding Business Relationships, some of you may even have it. It now lives inside of our community. It's a little redesign, but I explain what referrals do. I explain how referrals increase when vendors can clearly describe you in one sentence, not just your business, but you as a wedding professional. When they can clearly describe you, referrals automatically increase. If they can't clearly describe you to somebody else, what you do, how you make them feel, then they cannot and will not confidently refer you. I've seen wedding pros double their rates. I've seen them simplify their content. I've seen them reduce stress. A lot of them are doing it right now, not because they are learning some kind of new marketing trick, but because they finally defined who they are. They got clarity. They defined who they serve. They defined all of these things, and they are clear on it. Right now, I am seeing most wedding pros try to figure this out by themselves. They jump from idea to idea. They're tweaking marketing endlessly. They're posting all the time, but they're not fixing the foundation, which is clarity. And that comes from asking the right questions. That comes from understanding the growth stages in their business. That comes from seeing their business from the outside. And that comes from getting feedback from multiple people. That's exactly why Grow My Wedding Business exists. It exists to help wedding pros get clear before they try to grow. I want you to remember that marketing amplifies what is clear or what isn't clear. Copying other pros creates confusion. The I'll do anything branding weakens trust with your potential clients. And clear businesses grow faster with less effort. Those businesses that have clarity. If marketing has felt frustrating, exhausting, or inconsistent, you're not bad at it. You're not bad at it. You just haven't built clarity yet. And you may be doing the right things, but remember, if you're doing the right things in the wrong order, then your business will fail or stay the same. There will be no growth. Now, next episode, I'm breaking down the growth mistake that feels responsible. Yes, I said the growth mistake that feels responsible. You'll just have to listen. But this growth mistake is quietly killing most wedding businesses, so you'll want to stay tuned. My name's Chad Muncie, and I'm so glad you decided to listen to me today. If you're joining me on YouTube, glad you decided to watch. You know what to do, so you'll hear me next time. If you're on the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a rating and review. If you're on YouTube, I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Have a great day. If today's episode hit home and you're ready to go deeper, I've built 2 resources for you. First, my book, Wedding Pros Playbook, is a complete breakdown of the marketing, positioning, pricing, and growth strategies that serious wedding pros use to build real businesses. You can grab the book at growmyweddingbusiness.com/playbook. Second, I've created a free Grow My Wedding Business community on School, where wedding pros connect, get clarity, and start implementing this stuff step by step. Join us at school.com/GMWB. That's school.com/GMWB. If you're serious about growing smarter, not just busier, I can't wait to see you inside.